Yeah, well, both. So, yeah, like, I remember summer 2005, I went on the road, and, like, all summer, really, with Raw, and the Miz and I teamed, because the Miz and Matt Cappotelli were going to be a tag team. Remember Cappotelli from Tough Enough 3?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And they were going to do a real world gimmick. And then Matt got hurt. I can't remember what happened. So I filled in with the Miz. And then, we like Cage. I was Chris Cage, and they said, we like Cage and the Miz. All right. And then when Matt came back, they wanted to go with Matt and the Miz. And this was like the fall. And then, okay, I did an OVW for some time now, and I'm starting to think like, all right, man, I'm ready to go. Let's try something different. So, I'd never been a heel before. So Johnny Jeter and I went to Paul Heyman and said, hey, let me turn heel. And we talked Heyman into it. He was like, I don't know. And then I remember we ended up leaving and we changed the whole storyline for around Christmas time. And I turned on Cappotelli. And I joined up with Jeter, and I was a heel. When I turned on Cap, I was always really safe. Guys loved working with me. That being said, I've never knocked anybody out ever, except for this one time. When I turned on Cappotelli, I knocked him out. And I just caught him. And I went to he was okay after, but I went to the doctor. Usually, if you get hurt with somebody, it's kind of customary. You go to the hospital with them just to make sure, And that's when we found out Cap had brain cancer.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and he's okay now, thank God. But that's how we found out. So it actually ended up being a good thing that happened. And so now Matt obviously can't wrestle. So then in January, Howard Finkel calls me. Because Howard Finkel would always be the guy that would call you to tell you you're on the road. I don't know if anybody knew that. Which is pretty cool because it's the guy from, like, your childhood, and he sounds just like he does, on the phone. He said, hello, Chris, Howard Finkel, how are you, sir? so anyway, I remember he called me and he's like, it's unfortunate for Matt, but good for you. And so me and the Miz were back together, and this was January, and we were on the Raw house shows every week, January, February, March, and they would never, and I was really cool with Tommy Dreamer, who was head of developmental at the time, and he always had the inside scoop for us, but they wouldn't tell us anything. And then finally in March, they were like, yeah, we're going to go with you and the Miz. Sweet. We were going to do the reality TV gimmick and all that. And now the wellness policy had just came about, because they didn't want, Eddie had just died not too long ago, and a lot of, wrestling was getting some bad publicity for deaths, and so like the weekend, so the Miz and I are getting called up, and we're going to Stamford, Connecticut to film our vignettes, and the weekend before that happens, we go out, and I get like really, really messed up drinking that night, and I had to go to the hospital, and WWE found out about it. I think it was just the timing of it and everything. So they were like, okay, we got to make an example of this guy. So I got fired, which was like a pretty big deal at the time, So and yeah, and so yeah, it was good for me at the time too. I think I needed it. I needed to kind of be away from the wrestling scene for a little bit, and it ended up working out, and got my act together, so to speak, and I kept in touch with everybody, and then I remember, I kept working at OVW even when they, the developmental had officially left and was in Florida, and I guess it was like September of '08. I met with John. John came down to OVW, and I met with him, and he's like, I hated to fire you like that, and this, and would you be willing to come to Florida? I said, heck yeah, man. So, that brought me back down to FCW. And, then I got paired up with Trent and got called up from there.
Now, when you're in OVW, obviously, we talked about Cornette, and we talked about Heyman. What's kind of the difference between them? I know, obviously, philosophy-wise and psychology-wise, they're complete opposites. But who did you like working for better, and kind of what was the difference between Paul Heyman and Jim Cornette?
Let me think. Probably, man, that's a good question because they're both like, I hate to throw around the word genius, but Cornette, I think, really is. Heyman, too. I guess that Cornette's just more old school, I guess. And I think he has accepted that over the years. Because often when I'm at work, it's funny. Like, I'll just, I'll put on YouTube and I'll just listen to, like, Jim Cornette. Because, YouTube has a ton of Cornette shoot interviews. And, obviously, there's, because I think Cornette's changed just in the last 15 years. Because when I was in OVW, I think he was still fighting all of that, the internet. And I remember we were in, when they used to have the HWA TV tapings at OVW, because, that used to be a developmental up in Cincinnati. And Lance Cade said something about highspots.com. And Cornette goes, God damn, highspots.com, what the fuck? Oh, sorry, I don't cuss him off, but I couldn't say Cornette. And he goes, well, I was in the gosh damn business. He goes, it was 5 years before I even knew what a high spot was. And he just went off. And OVW was like serious. Like, guys would get fined for if heels and baby faces are out together in public, But I think over the years, like, I mean, it's just fans are so educated today, you can't, control that. So, but yeah, I don't know much difference because they're both very passionate about wrestling and both, very smart when it came to booking wrestling and knowing how to write, compelling TV. I'd probably just say personalities, one's from the north, one's from the south. But man, now that I think about it, I guess I don't know. I thought about this, but those are two of the best guys that probably get to work on this. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, two great bookers, two, just smart minds for the business, two guys that certainly know what they're doing, but obviously you said, like, it's like north versus south. It's two completely different philosophies on wrestling.
Yeah, and I guess you can see Cornette was always way more up front. In fact, you can Google some of that. Cornette's got some great Paul Heyman stories. Paul Heyman lying stories are pretty legendary. So, yeah. So yeah, he's probably lied to me. I don't know. Like there was one where I guess there's like a famous one, I guess, where Bubba Ray Dudley with the original ECW. He's like, Paul, I didn't get my check. And Heyman said, I sent it FedEx. And he goes, well, give me the tracking number. And Heyman just rattled off some random numbers. And Bubba goes, that's 5 numbers too many. And then Heyman said, I'll just take 5 numbers off. It's like, what the so,
yeah. Oh, yeah. That is great. Any stories that you can look back on and you're thinking, maybe he lied to me too.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, nothing off the top of my head. But, Heyman was always cool with me. I always enjoyed working for him, But nothing that stands out, at least not at the moment. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen. Well, I guess Heyman, the word was Heyman used to write up a report, a kayfabe report of the OVW TV show, and send it in, on the internet. And it was under an alias, and he would just put the show over, because he wrote it. That was always the word. Nobody could prove it. And the stuff he liked, he would put over. And the stuff he didn't like, he would bury. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
The Heyman stuff's great, but with you and your career, the Dudebusters, obviously, definitely everyone remembers and it sticks out. What What's the chemistry like with you and Trent? Obviously, Trent's doing big things now in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but what was the chemistry like between you two? Because you two seem like you gel really well together.
Yeah, thanks. I came to FCW and I had like 2 matches in singles, and then like one week they put me with Trent, and everybody was like, "Oh, that was great. You guys are great together." And we just kind of went from there. And Trent is super cool, super chill, super easy to get along with, and so am I too. So chemistry was good. What's funny is because I still talk to Trent. I just talked to him the other day. And the only thing I think was the age difference and then ring experience. Not that, I was any better than him or anything, but, Trent was 21, I was 28. And that's quite an age gap at that time. And I was more, at that point in my career, like, okay, I heard Bret Hart say this one time. He said, it used to be I always worried about messing up, and I didn't care about getting hurt. Here's now, I just worry about getting hurt, and I don't care about messing up because I know, I'm going to be all right. And I think I was much more injury, not just like wanting to be smarter with some things. Like I had a torn pec repair. I had been out with injuries before, and I don't think Trent ever had. He still kind of had that, I'm an indestructible mindset, which is cool, but and that's the only time we ever butt heads on things, I think. And now I think I know he's had tricep surgery and a couple other things, something with his knee. And I think after that happens a couple of times, not that you hold back or anything, but you're just a little more aware of, okay, if I do get hurt, I'm not going to be doing any wrestling, so I need to maybe, not die after the 4th tonight or whatever it is, You start thinking about longevity, I guess. But, we got along great. We just had chemistry in the ring, like, right off the bat.